Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. This Thursday, February 8th, 2024, we meet today to talk about AVAX, Avalanche's crypto. So, as usual, we're going to do two parts in this video. A fundamental part, we will come back to what Avalanche is, its news, the usefulness of AVAX in Avalanche. You will see that there are many things that are being put in place. And then, the graphic part where we will project short, medium, long-term on purchase prices, sales prices. And it starts right away with the presentation of Avalanche. So Avalanche, you have to understand that it is a level 1 blockchain which was born in the Ethereum killer narrative at that time. So that was the screen at the time. They changed their approach a lot. They went through the notion of the multiverse and the notion of gaming. Gaming has a really important role in Avalanche and in its ecosystem. We'll go see it a little later. And here is their new image in which we are really in the notion of limitless creation. So, to explain what a level 1 blockchain really is, you have to understand that it is a block creation factory. That's exactly the image that's there. That's why I like it, and why I kept it. This is the goal of a level 1 blockchain, to create blocks that developers can use to build decentralized applications. It's an infrastructure blockchain. You have to really understand the principle of a blockchain currently. It compares itself to Polkadot, Ethereum, Bitcoin, so that's the old comparison that dates back some time ago. But I'm keeping it because it really shows the comparison with Polkadot, which they had a desire to be a layer 0. And in any case, a desire to become a layer 0, keep this in mind. We will discuss that in a few moments. Besides, this is something that is rather classic in terms of execution. These are smart contracts which are EVM compatible. So we can use Solidity and smart contracts which have been developed for Ethereum directly on it. They launched the subnets. So what are subnets? These are mini Avalanche networks which are interconnected and which are highly configurable. So that has a big advantage. It allows you to be able to develop your own Avalanche, your own blockchain technology for the use you want without having to be linked to a notion of public, with public transactions with public settings. Here we are using a use which is rather institutional, or for large companies which is rather classic. Besides, as I told you, we have a lot of gaming applications that are on Avalanche because it's very weak at the time. There have been a lot of incentives, and the technology itself is conducive to that, especially with the subnets in which we have a lot of games which were developed during 2022-2023 on Avalanche, especially in 2023. Besides, we still have other things in terms of technique. They really want to transform Avalanche so that we have a finality in the 200 milliseconds between 100 and 200 milliseconds, to have transactions per second that exceed 100 transactions per second. So technologically, they are in the process of evolving Avalanche technology very, very quickly. For me, this is a project that we will have to monitor closely, especially since we have Durango. What is Durango? It is a messaging wrap between Avalanche and all other EVMs. Overall, what does this imply? This implies that if I build on Avalanche, or I build on a subnet, or I build a subnet of Avalanche, I have access to all EVMs. It's easy to say like that, but that's really the goal of wrap messaging. It's to convey messages, information, whether it's a check. Does the person have their funds on such blockchain? Does it have the data on this blockchain? Has this happened on this blockchain? It really allows the Avalanche ecosystem to interface very strongly with the EVM ecosystem. And so, at this point, Avalanche becomes a complete part of blockchain and compatible EVMs. We will have at the level of tokenomics 25 billion deducted market cap, which is rather classic. We have a dilution of 51, and above all, we note here the 22 February, we have $350 million of Avalanche, which will be released, so it's going to hurt a lot. That's roughly 95 billion AVAX who will be released, or 2.6 from the circulating supply. So it's still significant. There's a good chance that there will be taking profits because it is private sales and seed sales, which have been given. So obviously we have very advantageous prices and big multiples that have been made. I think that not everything will be dumped, but there will be a part. And we will keep that in mind in technical analysis, because you will see that it will inevitably affect the levels that we will have subsequently. So, already, technically, very simply, we have a large Elliott wave in the long term. We have the establishment of a wick-off distribution in BC, Arkansas, ST, SOW. Okay, we have a breakout in 3 beats, A, B, C, and now we were in the wick-off accumulation, which was complicated, which was really very hard. We had an avalanche, which was not outperforming the market, but which was underperforming. We chained the lows lower and lower. We can clearly see 1R, 2Me, 3Me. And so we have here the implementation of an accumulation of Wickoff in SC, Arkansas, STB, Spring, acceleration. We have the break with the AR retest here. Consolidation and then second rupture with the rupture which obviously began at the end of October 2023, in which we had BTC, which drained a large part of the liquidity, which redistributed the liquidity on many altcoins, and Avalanche was part of these altcoins in which we had great outperformance. And in fact, we have broken the important level, which is the level of accumulation, the beginning of accumulation that we had, and we are in the process of consolidating above it. This level is here, at $31. 31.5, which we absolutely must maintain. To stay in this phase of hyperacceleration following the accumulation, for me, we are in a phase of consolidation, which can unfortunately also be in 3 stages with first stage, second stage, third stage. We don't forget that we have a token release on February 22, which is relatively substantial. I think it will be priced by the market. This is perhaps also why we have retraced quite violently compared to other cryptos which have performed. We see that we took a minus 45 compared to the $50 we received. Okay, so it's consistent. I think we can go and retest here, which would be nice. It would be a form of accumulation which would take place in this area with potentially a low which could arrive in the $24.6. The important is not to consolidate below agree. It is not to do that. If we consolidate below $32, it is a bad sign. It means that we will retest them much lower, with potentially the $15, if on the other hand we take cash. That we oscillate between $27 and $32 means that we have no stabilization of the price below or above, so we are in a form of accumulation and reaccumulation, and in which we could start to rise again, and that's a signal that will be very interesting. Perhaps there will be opportunities to seize on February 22, or in any case before February 22. Don't forget that we know that we have the date, so it will be priced in advance, and on the day of the date we will not have the reaction that we are expecting, so once again be careful with that, and prepare ourselves for the fact that there will indeed potentially be a dilution that happens, but that doesn't mean that we will have a huge dip either. It's the representation. It's 380 million. 380 million on a diluted market cap of 25 billion. That's relatively little overall, so we're always very careful. In terms of targets, we can fix on several targets. Already as a first step, we can collect here all the liquidity that was left during the beginning phase 2022 before the crash of Terra Luna with an AVAX above $90 and $100. For me, this is an area which will be very important, in which we will have a sell-off, which will be very important, massive profit-taking in which there will be an X10, which will have been made between those who have really accumulated in the part. Low of the accumulation, and who went to look for this level here, we have an X10, so inevitably we will have a profit taking which will be significant, and those who have the release of AVAX will perhaps wait precisely here for key levels to be able to take profits, especially if we look at the Fibonacci level as rather classic. We will see that we arrive right at the 618 normal concordance level, so for me we will have a price reaction. Second level, which would be very important, would therefore be the representation of an avalanche which even outperforms the market in a bull run. At the end of the bull run, we could have a 2-wave, a 3-Leotis wave with an AVAX that exceeds 250. 250, which gives us good performance even at the current price at the end of a bull run. Once again, we must be careful. It will be at the end of a bull run in a notion where we find ourselves with an avalanche which is in the main assets, with a narrative which is built around avalanche, around interoperability, around gaming. They are positioned on these two narratives, and I think that it is imperative to follow the evolution of technology and the evolution of speculation around the narratives built around avalanche. Afterwards, it's a question of choice. Is this a token that interests you? Is this a project that interests you? This is what will determine whether or not you will enter the project and what allocation you will have. Don't forget that you have the investment guide available in comments and descriptions. If you ever have any questions, you have my strategy in which I explain the entry points and exit points, how I build it, in what way. It's free. It's in comments and descriptions, and we'll meet again very quickly for a new video.